Great. I presume everyone is back, at least people who want to participate in the session. And like other speakers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever part of the world you're joining in from. So this session is about productivity. In fact, this is one of those areas what is a bit dicey for everyone as well, if you really look at it. Before we get going, now people who have joined back, can you talk about what is productivity in your terms quickly in the chat? You can start, just put it everyone so that everyone can visualize, can get to know what is productivity. Anyone or not anyone, whoever is there, can we get started with output versus input? Okay, that's interesting. Then is minimizing waste, somebody says. What value it gives? Okay, what else? What else? What else? Let me also keep the chat here. Reducing anti-patterns. Output per unit time. Wow. Okay. Resource efficiency. Maximizing output for a given input. Quality of the product. Different flavors. I'm getting, that's pretty interesting. So basically, this is something, yeah, keep flowing in. More than happy to take it as we get into this session. This productivity has been always dicey. The dicey and murky in the way is that there's always this, then how do you improve productivity? Everybody keeps asking this question. Hey, come on, man, people are doing 8 hours. Can we make them more productive in those 8 hours? 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. And one question which looms at large always is, how do you measure it? Can we measure productivity is the question everybody asks. You talk to a project program manager, you talk to a delivery head. Yeah, that's something which is to be done. Yes, unit of work against time, quality of the product, different things we talk about in terms of how we measure productivity. Now, one more question to everyone. Do you feel whatever you're talking about, whatever you mentioned, or whatever I just mentioned as well, on the measurement of productivity, is it good? Is it the right way? Anyone? Value versus cost, that's something good. Yeah, okay. Anyone can comment on whether this productivity measurement is good or bad? No, value should be measured. Yes, that is there. Yep. What else? Yes, because we need to know utilization. That's a different topic. Utilization. Wow. Okay, then what else? Someone says no, someone says yes. Usually when we talk about productivity, keeping person as a center, it is not the right approach. There's another thought. Capacity planning, another thought. Wow, there are lots. Yes, I believe. Yeah, somebody says yes, I believe. Perfect. You have lots of views. Somebody says yes, somebody says no, somebody says we need to measure because there are some advantages over and above what we're talking about. Focus on flow of work. Wow, that's also something which is there. Productivity is important as everybody is interested in ROI. Wow, what's wrong with this word? What's wrong with this word? What word are you talking about? Productivity? Is productivity? Yeah. If it's productivity, everything is wrong about productivity, right? Meaning, when a person delivers, we say he's productive, he or she is productive. When a person doesn't deliver, we say he or she is not productive. Agree to that statement in a way? That's that term. It is linked to performance appraisal. Something so weird in a way. I'm not saying it's totally weird, but the problem is all these factors make it so weird. That's where the problem. Quantity which can be delivered to quantum to whatever. Wow, what's a nice definition. I remember that 3 Idiots definition of machine and that book. The moment I read that, so complex to put it across. What can a sponsor do with productivity? Yeah, that sponsor should answer, right? Not you and I. What is that? True. Let's get going. So we have been talking about what is productivity, need for productivity and stuff like that. So what are we going to do today? Productivity. Let me just move this chat somewhere. Give me a minute. Why is that moving? Yeah, it's moving finally. Good. What are we going to do? Explore productivity. team versus individual. There are three levels of productivity. In fact, team, individual, and organization. Okay, I'm looking at the individual and the team, not more than that right now. Myths about productivity, output, outcome, productivity. We'll be talking about a bit of it. Challenges in measuring productivity, and of course, the topic of the day, the space in IT. What's that all about? Is what we'll be talking about. So that's what it is. Don't take this as a gyan. It's a theory session. No. The key takeaway from this session is going to be an eye-opener. First thing, I want you guys to try it out in your respective teams. There are certain things which you can definitely do in your teams. Trust me, I have been doing this in my teams throughout my career, directly or indirectly in certain areas. And this has really, really benefited. Okay, so it is kind of that, in a way, from my perspective, a proven formula, what you can and how you can enhance that productivity. Entire team sales or things. That's also another good way to think about what is productivity. So that's the contour to which we are doing. Let's get going. Myths about productivity. Productivity is all about activity. Productivity is about individual performance. Can be measured with metrics. We have seen all these examples over here. Productivity is, of course, useful only for managers. Anybody, any disclaimers to these 4 statements? I've just given what I feel is the top 4 things. It is definitely not restricted to this exhaustive list always. So we did talk about, somebody said appraisals. We were talking about something versus something. Those kind of things also happen. So all these things are related to productivity. So that's garbage in, garbage out. Computers, right? So you mean to say at the moment we say productivity and we talk about this garbage, these are related terms, right? Somebody puts it across. That's also interesting topic. Fine. Productivity is equal to velocity. Wow, that's also another interesting one. Myth. Yep, that's very important. When we increase, what happens? This has been a common challenge. And when I was working with one of the transformation teams, they said how to increase productivity. So I had a wonderful opportunity and to work, and I justified it as well. So they said, if you want to increase productivity, meaning there was this which says, we will have to go ahead and do increase in velocity so that it becomes easy to measure that we are delivering more value. You know what happens? Scrum Masters automatically opened a Pandora's box. They said 3 becomes 5, 5 becomes 8, 8 becomes 13. Well, that's it. Good. Productivity is increased, right? According to the formula, when you say productivity is equal to velocity, this happens. So that's again a myth about productivity. Increase velocity, it always. Can we increase productivity to eternity? That curve, whatever we are talking about, that straight slope, hypotenuse slope from 0 to infinity, can it keep increasing? Anybody? Again, key in your chat. Let the chat keep flowing. Inflated estimates. Yes, somebody says no. What is that then? So at least at that level, we agree that we cannot actually do it, meaning we cannot increase it to eternity. There is somewhere it will stop, meaning it will start plateauing, right? We can only strive for optimism and not maximization. That's obviously yes. In a way, yes. But don't you think we'll have to deliver at the same time? When I say deliver, I'm not talking about slogging for 20 hours, 40 hours, no. But meeting certain expectations, certain goals, certain aspects. So in a way, it's also maximization, right? We have to be optimistically looking how to maximize our productivity. In other words, if that's what you mean, yes, I agree with that statement. Now let's get going. That's about myths. Understanding motivation. You might be wondering why am I talking about motivation psychology. We'll get to that in a moment. There are 3 stages in motivation. We were talking about this. In a way, it is related to what we had, that intrinsic motivation. Sometime back when we were talking about another session, what Koti also said, what we were talking in terms of the transformation, other stuff. So biological motivation, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, 3 levels of motivation. Biological, bijli sadak pani, we all knew that. You must have all seen this famous video about the motivation speaker, Ravi Talreja, who had mentioned 3 revolution stages. Industrial revolution, information resolution, now it's a social revolution. To that question, what one entrepreneur was asking, how do I stem attrition? That word rings all the bells, whatever is possible, wherever, across the world. Can you stem attrition? Absolutely not. You have to live with that. But that's a common question. So what is that helps us? These 3 factors in a way linked to it. And in a way, they are also, not in a way, they are also directly proportional to that term productivity. Sometime back, a century back, it was that Bijli Sarak Pani, which said, yeah, my manager is always right. So I'll do whatever it takes because I have to satisfy the basic necessity of my life. Then extrinsic motivation. I get a reward and a recognition, waterfall. Somebody does it good. Yes. Developers, I shouldn't be using the term developers, I use them coders. Coders are given a target. Write code so that the testers will not find any bugs. Wonderful target. They start. Testers, fantastic. Find as many bugs as possible. So you get a reward or a penalty based on where you are and how you view things. So that's a reward and a penalty. Intrinsic is what you have to become something from our inner self. Passion, motto, chase excellence, success follows. The famous statement. But are we intrinsically motivated? How do we get to that level? How can we motivate our teams to attain that level? Something. That's the thought. So psychology plays a very, very critical role in terms of managing this productivity. Balance between effectiveness, efficiency, and predictability. That balance. What is that balance? How are we going to strike the balance? That's the question, right? Very, 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 very important. Let's get going. Now we start about space. This is where the space came into picture. Remember, this is not something very new. We already had all these things. It's more on how it has been formulated. One, what is the research or what has happened behind the scenes? That's what I'll be talking about. The space is a framework. It has this 5 contours: satisfaction, performance, activity, communication, and efficiency. In a way related to our Agile manifesto as well. It's something new. That's why it's not nothing new. 1. 2, who was those guys? So this was not done as a exercise in Microsoft, in conjunction with Microsoft, GitHub, and I think University of Victoria, if I'm not wrong. These 3 people were involved, and they proposed this framework called as space. Basically, what we are trying to say is productivity cannot be measured by one metric alone. Number of hours working, number of story points delivered, nothing of that sort. You cannot measure productivity just by one piece of metric. So don't look at one metric or maybe 2 or 3 metrics, which are like the very, very objective, subjective things to determine developer productivity. It is not that. It encompasses a host lot of other things, because a person who is a wonderful performer in one team would turn into a miserable performer in another. You have to understand the dynamics of it. So that productivity, what was very good, excellent, above expectations, dip. Very classic example, service-based industry, for no fault of yours. If somebody is getting penalized, it happens, right? You start dipping. Appraisal systems. The day that appraisal gets announced and you get your hikes, you're done. The team goes for that sulking mode. And that maybe 1 month, 3 months, they'll be swearing in some corner, I'll have to quit. I've done so many things, but none has been appreciated. That's what we're talking about. So it is not just one parameter we have to evaluate. We have to look at a lot of other factors. Now let's look at each of these things. What satisfaction, well-being, satisfaction, performance, activity, communication, efficiency, map to. Yes, understands how fulfilled, happy, and healthy is the person. We are not looking at anything else. If a person is satisfied, fulfilled, and happy, then the productivity will obviously increase. This is common sense, right? If you're happy in doing certain things, you will definitely excel. Anybody disagree into the statement? In the chat. Feel free to add your views in the chat. I'll be reading through it. I'm anyways having it open. So you have to have that good state of mind. What are those things? We spoke about net promoter score. OT did mention all these things, right? Promoters, passives, detractors. Net promoter score is not just for the customers alone. You can also do it for employees. So we can look at it. For your Scrum teams, if you're a Scrum Master, do it. You will get a feel on how it is, how the team is feeling. Absenteeism rate. How many of us face the situation? Unannounced absence. Yeah, we do have 10 days, 12 days, 15 days, 18 days. That is not a problem. But when there is a critical piece of work, people tend to go back and say, let this guy suffer. Let this manager suffer. I'm not going to deliver. That same person will come and he'll deliver it the next day. It's flogging 24 hours. But he gets that sense of satisfaction. Appa, I have not delivered today. My manager would have faced the tunes. Reality, whether the manager faced the tunes or not, let's not look at it. But ultimately, this is a pointer. How frequently people are taking days off unannounced or citing reasons which you feel it is a bit murky. So people taking days off is appreciations given. Now, the biggest problem of appreciation, especially in the older world, is individual appreciations. So I'm not saying it is bad, but the problem is when an individual is appreciated, lot many people, there are also sulkers. They feel this guy has got the help from me, so I'm not getting that. This guy has got that motivation, rewards and recognitions. That piece of it, that second point of it, extrinsic motivation, penalties, rewards, recognition, that piece of it. That is what in terms we're talking about as appreciations. Not wrong, but look at it from a team perspective. Reward, award the team, not that individual. Yes, you need to appreciate that superstar in the team who might or who would have run that external, that extra mile. But taking off is difficult outside India. I don't understand what you're talking about by taking off is difficult in India. Maybe you can type in more. That was in the chat. Above all, that psychological safety. That's the key. Lots of exercises are there available. You can look at it. Reach out to me if you want on how you can do, how can you build that psychological safety around in your squads, in your teams. It's very much possible. In a way, the top 3 or 4, whatever I've given, results or it encompasses, it is inside the psychological safety. The moment a person, an individual feels he or she is safe, it becomes all the more easy for him or her to excel in that job. Anybody against the statement, feel free to flow in the comments. I'm not taking questions right now. We do have, I want to give that space as well. The outcome of a process. We all know about output and outcome, right? That we've been debated. That is done and dusted. Let's not talk about what is outcome, what is output. We are not worried. But some measuring parameters. Velocity is one, business values, one, all those things. Few things. Turnaround time, story points shipped. That story point shipped, please look at it. It's shipped, delivered to production, and you have that customer value. It's not delivered. Delivered is different from shipped. Understand that. Customer feedback, appreciation received. This is again not appreciation for the individual. I have done a super job. I have got an appreciation. It's again for the squad, the team who is working that. Yes, there is this explanation. If you mention you are sick, you need to share the doctor letter. But in India, it isn't easy. But is that worthwhile to do it? Giving us, are we in school to do all these things? Please bring a sick letter, leave letter, certificate of fitness and all those things. I think we are grown-ups, my view. Feel free to debate on that in the chat. Anybody want to add their views on this? Please go ahead, shoot. So look at these as areas of improvement. This is very good from a team's perspective. Turnaround time, story point shaped, customer feedback. Are we getting it? So you can look at the P of garment law. It's difficult. No comments on that. I'm aware of it, but let's not talk about the garment law per se. That again, it's micromanagement is what I would say. Sorry, I jumped into the chat. A of space, actions. Now, if you look at it, the first was, yes, that is that well-being. Then we talk about outcome, and now we're talking about actions. The third is the action. Only then it's not the first, what we're not talking about as the first. Number of code lines reviewed, completed, reviews completed. Code reviews of a person, not a person, the reviewer we are talking about. That really helps. Code commits of a person. How good is the quality? Merge frequency. These are few things. These are actions, output, which we can easily measure. There are a lot of tools to measure all these things as well. So you can look at these as an option to evaluate how productive a team is. Measuring the waste removed, like by reducing cycle time, lead time. Yeah, Lean management. Yes. I've just given a few things here. Feel free to add whatever you want to, which you feel would make sense. Absolutely. C, communication, collaboration. We all know about this, right? We have to help people. Knowledge sharing, discoverability. Anybody add to what discoverability is all about? Can you talk about it? Grooming of new people. People join the team. How quickly you ensure that the person gels into the structure, the culture, the behavior aspects of the team, the squad. What do you mean by discoverability here, and what context have put on? Anybody? Also measuring the cost of one user story, point, or sprint. I don't know how you would be measuring it, because the cost factor is totally different for a team or for a company. It could be the dollar rates could be one hour is like, say for example, $10. Somebody could say one story point is say $5. It could be any of these things. But in my view, cost of one story point, again, that results in that Pandora's box, increasing story point. So that may not really achieve those benefits. But yeah, feel free to try it out. Let me know if that really works. It has not worked for me, honestly. Discoverability is experiments. Somebody says some contracts based on SP deliverables. Some contracts that is another problem. Let's not talk about contracts here, because that is where it all stemmed up. Pandora's box got opened because there was this clause in the contract which says, I will increase velocity 10% of the team after 6 sprints. I don't know how another is possible all of a sudden. Okay, so story points, learnings. So yeah, discoverability in a way, experiments. Now let me give you an example. Especially this works good in a product space. Areas where you need innovation. Innovation need not be from the product management. It can also come from the team. So when you talk about the team, what is the discoverability? So people who figure it out, who help in identifying, fixing, not only this, people who are able to fix a defect when they run through CR, when they're working on it. CR, I'm just using as a term, but a user story in other words. So if they figure out it's not their job, they don't keep it that side. So that's something also part of that discoverability. Okay. So you would have heard this famous story. A father had given a boat for service, and this mechanic actually returned the boat, and this father had not informed that there is a hole in the boat or the ship. The kids had taken the boat for shipping, swimming, whatnot. They've gone boating, in other words. And this father was shocked when he came back home, because he realized very late. But the mechanic had already fixed it. It's a story, but ultimately, if you look at it, this is what is practical things, right? You figure out something when you're doing, just fix it. What is that stopping? That helps in ensuring that the collaboration communication also works. You share it with others. E of space, minimal delays or interruptions. That's what is that E. Handoffs, flow through the system. Code reviews, we saw flow through the system as well in earlier discussions. Code review timings. Again, take that code review timings with a pinch of salt, because people might say, yeah, I'm doing it great. I'm doing 10 code reviews, but is it really effective? Effectiveness is what we will have to really look at. Okay. Handoffs. How do you think handoffs can really help? Anybody? I'll give you a very classic, simple example. Delay is the enemy of flow. Yes, true. Handoffs. Honestly, think for yourself, a food for thought. After resigning from after just submitting of papers, how many of you have run that extra mile to ensure that your squad or the team to which you're working is safe? We resign for so many reasons. That doesn't mean that the team to which I've been working should suffer after my exit. That's something also which we have to think. That's a food for thought for ourselves, not for anyone. But handoffs in another, that's one type of handoff I'm talking about. Pair programming, yes, that's for grooming, helping people to grow. So that is in terms of whatever we spoke, knowledge sharing, those stuffs. Yep. Reduce the size of handoffs from one role to another. Yeah, roles handoffs is very, very critical. But here we are not talking about typical role handoffs. I'll give you one more example in the space of the squads as well. When you talk about full stack development, full stack developers. So we are looking at it now. Generally, we have the coders and the testers in the team, the squads. So they keep handing off back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that's waste. Can we empower? Can we make these people grow in their respective roles so that it becomes easy? So that's another area which we can look at. Okay, waiting for approvals. Oh, sorry, I read as appraisal. I'm sorry. Yes, approvals, true. Commits per day that we already saw. Yes. So that's with respect to E. I take a pause here. Any questions you would like to type in questions, please feel free. I think I have another 5 more minutes with me, 5 or 7 more minutes with me. 9-5 is what Sharath was mentioning. I think I'm good.
8 minutes more.
Oh, 8 minutes. Fantastic. You're giving me a minute more. Great. Thanks, Gaurav. I did not count that 7 incidentally. I counted from the 8th minute. How do you measure productivity of Scrum Master? More or less facilitations. If you want to take up, that's one. Okay, how good the team is. A coach success is team's success. Look at it from that perspective. If your team is successful, obviously Scrum Master is equally successful, right? Look, put the team front. Automatically, Scrum Masters will start excelling. Scrum Masters are never front runners. When I say front runners, I'm not talking about lead from the front. Don't take it that way. It's always the team which comes front. That's what I meant. Hope I have answered that question. Yep. Feel free to ask more questions. So that is about that space part of it. So what we have seen till now, we saw what is productivity, how to measure the olden days. Then we spoke about this framework. This has been pioneered. Now some more history of the space. This was actually done during the COVID time. You know what prompted all these things? COVID. So COVID has been a big game changer for everyone. What, as Koti was putting across some time back, what was thought as waste, working from home, was never entertained, now is the norm. Something which is unknown previously has become a known today. This is Agile. This is what Agile talks about. Whatever is unknown will evolve as you progress in your journey. So that's what it is about. Can we increase productivity by aligning people to goals via OKRs? Yes, provided you know how to define OKRs and not use that metric alone to measure a person. Okay, so please keep that at the back of your mind. So it is not. So you need to include all these 5 areas or 5 contrasts to get into that or build that OKR around this space. That will be good. Do you mean success is one productivity? Success is one form of productivity, I would say. Don't take that as the thing in productivity. Okay, so don't look at it from that perspective. Well, before we wind off, what I do, what I am. So look at me, I'm LinkedIn. I have not shared the QR code. I'll put it in the chat as well or in the group. I'll ask Sharath or anyone to put it in the major other group as well, where you guys are all there. I help in transforming organizations. I mentor fellow humans to achieve their goals. So feel free if you want to do mentoring things, you want to get mentored, please let me know. I'm more than happy. I conduct workshops for Scrum Masters and product management. I am typical in that product management space. Scrum Masters, yes, I do, but more on the product management. How do you do that kind of thing? So anybody who wants to excel, want to move into a product manager role, reach out to me. We can have that. Of course, coaching on agile mindset and culture, and of course, various industry experience over a span of 23, 25 years. So that's about me. So I think I still have 5 more minutes with me. Questions? That's it about it.
Yeah, anyone having any questions, you can raise your hand and we will allow you to speak. Anyone?
I'll stop sharing, by the way. Makes sense?
You can raise your hand and we will allow you to ask the questions.
No questions?
Yeah, there is one. Ankit is asking. Let me allow Ankit to.
For appraisal at the end of, we are looking at some burned budget. What do you mean by that? I didn't get the question clearly. Maybe you...
Ankit, you can ask now. You
Yeah.
are unmuted.
Yeah. Hello, sir. At the end, my point is when we are talking about the agility, so there are two ways: business agility versus process agility. So in the process agility, like everything is going good, but when we are moving to the business agility, when where the present and all the things are coming, okay, we are looking for the budget and all the things.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that time we are looking one concern also, like if we received X amount of the budget for a particular budget for the particular project, how much we burned it.
Oh, okay, that we're talking about. Okay.
So on that basis also we are thinking for the appraisals also. So at that time, don't we think like it need to be going to be distributed for each and every developers in a same factor, or it need to be different?
Okay, you're talking about typical appraisal, salary appraisal systems.
Yes, because it's also included in the agile project.
True. Everything is accounted. At the end of the day, budget is a budget. No second thoughts. See, the problem what we have right now is if you really want to excel, then this OKR should be dealing from your salary or the typical appraisal systems. Okay, so that is something which we have to achieve. We are not there at all. None of the companies, or at least 95% of the world companies, are not there at all. Still, we say that and recognition with that penalties is what it is. So you do something, you get a better salary. So
yeah, because see, my concern area, because means why I'm more focused about the service-based company and this present all the things, because I worked with the product-based company also. Even I worked for the outside India also. So
yeah.
What the differences I am getting here in the India, like if you are working in the Europe, your appraisal having the two parts. First part, it's directly fixed by the government of your country, and the second part, it's the addition of your company. So at least you are getting a fixed amount. But in
exactly,
India,
I was about to add the same thing, Ankit. You brought the right thing. Where can't we look at a system example? Don't take it in a literal sense. Can't we a general 3% hike or inflation-related hike across the board for everyone, and people who really do something additional, that run that extra mile to look at in terms of giving better, say, promotions, for example, or salary, even better salary, whatever you want to call it as.
Yeah.
So basically, if you look at it related to that Bijli Sadak Pani, that 3 motivation levels, when I will get unhappy, when I get unsatisfied, when I know that I have done certain things, but I'm not getting the hike. How many companies have not given the hike during COVID? They give all kinds of reasons, right? And the same company started crying when people started leaving. Why? That's the problem. The problem is relating appraisal systems to your productivity performance, which is not the right way. Agility will not be achieved by that.
That is true. That is true, sir. And I'm not having a different prospect on this one. But if you're working in India, where you can see the number of job versus the number of the job versus the person, it's a huge margin. Okay, so if you are going to leave the company because you have not received the good appraisal, okay. So the second person is already in the queue.
Yeah.
So how we can manage this area in the agile side, that company will also be happy, and the team members also will be happy.
Ensure that the psychological safety is met. That would be one way to look at it. We are overshot by 1 minute. Maybe Ankit, I'll take a couple of questions. We can connect.
Maybe we can take this offline.
I think
it's a detailed topic. I can help you out, but that's a couple of things. There is one question: is product management related to Agile coach role? Related? I don't know what you're talking about in terms of related, but product manager is part of any of the Agile delivery system. So having said that, in a way, yes, is what I would say from an agility perspective, but may not be related directly to an Agile coach per se. A product manager can be an agile coach as well as a standby. If you are talking about that, maybe you can explain in detail, ping me, more than happy to get it, because more details would help me to answer you effectively. What are the reports we have to check productivity apart from burn down, burn up, velocity? As I told you, when you talk about productivity, try to inculcate this space wherever it's possible. Try to measure it from that perspective. You will understand. I'm not saying that you will create a revolution by just doing it, but there are certain things which we have to start on the ground. So that would give you an insight for even the senior management and the leadership team that certain things are not good at the ground level. Are they not aware of it? Are they not willing to raise? That's not a question I'm trying to answer. But let's make an attempt. Let's not say it will not work for us. I'm more than happy to say I tried, but I failed. That gives an opportunity for us to learn. That fail, inspect, learn, adapt, fill up. I keep insisting. So don't look at it from those standard metrics of burn down, burn ups, velocity. These are things which everyone would be doing. Everyone does it, but not look at it. This is more, if you really want a person to excel in his or her role, I would categorize that psychological safety as the crux of it. If you're safe, you will excel in your role. I have 100 different examples, time constraint. Connect with me offline.
Yeah, we are running short of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
One more question,
Okay.
Gaurav, or
No, I think we are done, right? They can connect with you
okay,
offline
cool.
for any further discussion. You have already shared your LinkedIn profile, like they can mail you, they can connect with you.
I'll share it across
connect.
the chat as well.
Yeah, it will be good. Like, so before that, right, we wind up. So it was really a great session. Small token of appreciation, right? Let me share my screen. Just give me a second. Are you able to see? Sharad, you want to say something? Sharad?
Yeah. Thanks, Anantha sir, for the great session on space in depth. This is a new version which I experienced as part of this summit. On this topic specifically, I never heard such an interesting conversation. Thanks for that. And the token of appreciation from our side. Really want to thank all the leaders and speakers and everyone who humbly accepted it with a single call and worked hard like anything for the past 3 weeks to give us this valuable outcome. Once again, thanks, sir.
Yep. Thanks, Sharad. Thanks, Satish, for all these things. I know sleepless nights would have spent, of course. But no, organizing such a big event is not an easy joke by any means. Thanks to all the volunteers as well. I've seen that message flowing across the chats. Sharad pinging everyone, Satish pinging everyone, pestering. You were sitting on my head for the deck as well. I don't know. End of the day, I was ready, but end of the day, the follow-up I'm talking about persistence.
Thank you so much. As long as we have the wonderful audience who keep encouraging us doing these kind of sessions, we'll keep doing that. So Mrs. Agile Gurus. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, evening, weekend. Yep.